There's a world right here on our own planet that is more alien than anything we could ever imagine. It's a realm of crushing pressure, of eternal, absolute darkness, and right now, its inhabitants, well, they seem to be sending us a message. It's about time we figured out what they're trying to tell us.
So here's the big mystery that's got scientists, fishermen, and pretty much everyone scratching their heads. Creatures that belong miles below the surface, in the blackest parts of the ocean, are suddenly showing up in our world. Why? Why are they leaving home? Okay, take the OR fish, for example. For centuries, Japanese folklore has called this thing a messenger, a harbinger of earthquakes and disaster. And seeing one used to be an incredibly rare event. But lately, they're washing up on shores all over the place, from Japan to California to Mexico, with a kind of frequency that's, well, it's pretty alarming. That's not just a coincidence, right? It feels like a warning. And it's not just the oarfish. We're talking about the giant phantom jellyfish with its 30-foot tentacles suddenly appearing in shallow Antarctic waters. These bizarre smooth lumpfish being pulled up by Russian fishermen. And then there's this absolute nightmare fuel, the Black Sea Devil. It's a creature literally built for the abyss, and it was found at the surface. These animals aren't tourists, they're refugees. Now, the very first clue to this entire mystery actually popped up way back in World War II. Sonar operators were completely baffled when they saw what looked like the entire seafloor rising. Hundreds of meters every single night, only to sink back down by morning. Of course, it wasn't the ocean floor. It was something way, way more alive. So, to understand why they're fleeing, we first have to understand the world they're leaving behind. We need to take a journey down, way down, into the last true wilderness on this planet. Get this. A staggering 95% of our own oceans remain completely, totally unexplored. Just think about that for a second. We have more detailed, high-resolution maps of the surface of Mars than we do of our own planet's seafloor. This is the great unknown, right here at home. All right, our descent is going to take us through these really distinct layers, almost like different worlds stacked on top of each other. Each one has its own rules, its own physics, and its own bizarre cast of characters. We'll start in the familiar sunlight zone, drop into the mysterious twilight zone, then into the pitch-black midnight zone, and finally, into the crushing darkness of the abyssal zone. As we sink down into the twilight zone, something really weird happens with light. You see, water is really good at absorbing the long wavelengths of light first, and that means red is the first color to completely vanish. So for creatures like the strawberry squid or the bloody belly calm jelly, being bright red is basically the same as wearing an invisibility cloak. To predators down here, they're just black shapes in the gloom. So, how do you see when there's no light? Easy. You make your own. Bioluminescence is the language of the deep. It's how you lure in your dinner, how you signal to a mate, how you flashbang a predator to escape. It is a silent, living light show, all powered by a simple chemical reaction that turns these animals into little deep-sea lanterns. And this is where evolution just gets, well, straight up alien. This is the barrel-life fish. And look closely. Those little dots on the front? Those aren't its eyes. Its eyes are those big green orbs you see inside its completely transparent head. They're almost always looking straight up, scanning for the faint shadows of prey overhead. It's a biological submarine, literally, complete with a viewing dome and rotating periscopes for eyes. Dropping even further into the midnight zone, we meet a true living fossil. This is the vampire squid. It's the last of its kind, the only surviving member of an order that's been around for over 200 million years. Now, despite that terrifying name and its spooky cloak-like webbing, it's no predator. It's actually a scavenger that eats something called marine snow, which is just a gentle shower of organic junk, including, boop, drifting down from the world above. And finally, down in the immense, bone-crushing pressure of the abyssal zone, we don't just find monsters. We find creatures of incredible, unexpected grace. This is the Dumbo octopus, named for those ear-like fins on its head. It spends its entire life down here, elegantly propelling itself through the water. It's like a deep-sea ballerina. Okay, so we've seen this unbelievable, diverse world. Now let's connect it all back to that false seafloor mystery from World War II. Because that phenomenon, it's the key to this whole thing. What those sonar operators were seeing is now known as diel vertical migration, or DVM for short. And it is, quite simply, the largest migration of life on planet Earth. And it happens every single day, completely hidden from our view.
The sheer scale of this is almost impossible to wrap your head around. Every night, billions of animals, from tiny plankton to squid and fish, swim up from the depths. The total weight, the biomass, is estimated to be 25 times the total mass of all 8 billion humans on this planet combined. So the big question is, why do they do it? The logic is actually beautiful in its simplicity: to eat without being eaten. During the day, they hide from predators in the safe, dark waters of the deep. But at night, they rise to the surface to feast on the all-you-can-eat buffet of phytoplankton, all under the cover of darkness. For eons, this has been the rhythm of the ocean, a daily pulse of life, beating in the dark. But now, that rhythm is being broken, and the cause, unfortunately, is us. Climate change is creating a deadly trap. It's a chain reaction, just like you see here. Rising surface temperatures create this warm layer of water on top, which acts like a lid. It stops the ocean from mixing properly, which means less oxygen gets down into the colder, deep water. The result? These vast, low oxygen zones are spreading in the deep. For animals adapted to a stable environment, this is a total catastrophe. It forces them on a one-way trip up, desperately searching for water they can actually breathe. But suffocation isn't the only danger they're facing. As our footprint on the surface world gets bigger and bigger, a new, much more direct threat is gathering on the horizon, one that wants to exploit this last pristine wilderness for profit. Let me introduce you to this incredible creature, the scaly-foot snail. It lives around scorching hydrothermal vents, and it builds a suit of armor for its foot out of iron sulfide. It also has the largest heart, relative to its body size, of any animal on Earth. It is a one-of-a-kind marvel of evolution, and it happens to live right in the crosshairs of future deep-sea mining operations. Now, the source of this explainer makes a pretty strong argument on this point. It claims that some crony capitalists and useless politicians are the ones pushing for deep-sea mining. The goal, according to this view, is to extract things like gold and silver, destroying these unique habitats in the process, all to benefit their friends. So this perspective really suggests the driving force here is greed, and it's targeting these incredibly fragile ecosystems. And all of this brings us to a really critical moment. You see, unlike the rainforests or the coral reefs, which were already being badly damaged by the time we really understood their value, the deep sea is still, for the most part, untouched. We have a very rare chance to actually get this right. And, a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, which was in the source material, just hits the nail on the head here. The world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. It perfectly captures the dilemma. The deep sea holds untold scientific wonders and plays this vital role in regulating our planet. Is its value in what we can learn from it, or is it only in what we can take from it? So we're standing at this unique precipice. We are just beginning to pull back the curtain on our planet's greatest mystery, and we're meeting creatures more wonderful and strange than we ever could have imagined. The question now is, are we going to destroy this world before we've even had the chance to properly say hello? Will we choose preservation or will we choose profit? That choice is ours to make.